Hey guys, there's a really cool company called Gamebox Monthly that I'm kind of obsessed with. What is Gamebox Monthly, you ask? Well, it is a service that delivers indie tabletop games to your door every month. How cool is that? It's really cool. Let me tell you why. People are so consumed by devices and screens. We need face-to-face human connection. Come on. So it's a great way to discover new games together with the people that you love and care about, or even just remotely like, or maybe you don't like them at all. Maybe you'll get to like them after you play some of these tabletop games. You never know. It's a great way to re-engage your original social network. So go to GameboxMonthly.com and rediscover social.
Krista! Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Really? Because you seem a little...
I said I'm fine.
Okay, well, we all love you, so if you need to talk, we're...
She's fine. She's fine.
I'm fine. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Hello. I'm excited for today.
Don't you have theme music?
Wait, I haven't introduced you yet.
Oh, sorry.
The theme music comes before. There's magic that happens after.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go
post production.
Yeah, it's all in
now.
post.
They don't know who I am.
Nobody knows yet.
Even when you announce it, they won't know me.
They will.
Maybe.
They will.
Got it.
So I'm really stoked today because I get to do this podcast with somebody that is one of my favorite people on the planet. He is an amazing actor. He's super funny. He's a writer. He's a producer. And he's also known to have one of the most enormous hearts in all of Los Angeles.
I thought that was going somewhere else. And, it didn't, but I'll take it.
Michael Rosenbaum, everyone, in the house.
Are you going to do post-production applause?
Yes.
Oh, what a treat. What a
Yes.
treat. I'm fine.
Yes, with quotes or really
I'm fine. I'm fine. I think it's a great title.
Thanks.
I'm upset that I didn't, for my podcast, I didn't do that.
Well, and also I forgot to mention that Michael has an amazing podcast as well called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
Which I just did the podcast
You were
recently.
great. I got inside of you.
And Michael got inside of me.
That's a lot of
And
fun.
that's how I know he has such an enormous heart.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when you do these podcasts, and there's tons of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Everybody has a podcast. But when you find something interesting and you really just talk to people and not try to be like, hey, we're being funny, we're being goofy, hey. I think it's when it's specific and it's just, it's like one human talking to another.
Yeah.
And like bringing out real things that people can relate to. And I think that's kind of,
Well, that's the coolest thing about it all, because everybody has stuff, and it's always nice whenever people listen to stuff and they go, oh shit, I'm not alone. Like these people have the same messed up thoughts that I do, or
we're all messed up.
insecurities
We're all
or whatever.
effed.
Yeah, we're all effed.
But by the way, speaking of effed, I have a coffee, a water, and a Red Bull in front of me. Does that say something about my personality? And I don't even drink much Red Bull, but I have it there in case.
Just in case you start to feel tired.
I get this weird anxiety that I'm going to lose energy during something, and I need to chug something that will give me energy.
Really?
I get a little anxiety of the potential of losing energy.
That I understand that.
Is that the weirdest thing?
No, it
Kind of
makes
is.
sense. It makes a lot of sense. I totally get it. But you are well hydrated. Your skin looks amazing.
Well, I just,
And,
I'm 45. It's, you get up there and you start to go, wow, what are those, what they call liver spots? My
No, you
dermatologist,
don't.
no, they're not liver spots.
don't.
They're sun damage or they're oil glands.
I don't see any liver spots.
Yes,
on
I
you.
do. I just had this stuff burned off my forehead. You could see some dots, or like I had these like oil things, and it was a vanity thing, but they were easy. You just zapped them, and hopefully they're gonna, you can't see them now, but
can't.
on film you could see bumps, and I don't want
Whatever.
to see bumps. It's a little vain, but I was like, I
It's
don't like
okay.
it. I don't fucking like it.
It's okay. I do the same thing.
I'm not changing the structure of my face.
No, you're
this
not.
This isn't plastic surgery.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a little maintenance.
It's some maintenance.
Maintenance is important after a certain age, I think.
It is. Are you talking about maintenance like all throughout, like manscaping, all that stuff?
All of it, womanscaping, manscaping, all of it. For guys have a really weird. Guys feel like if they do things like what you're saying, like, okay, I have these little dots, I'm going to go get it taken care of.
Right.
It's like there's like a weird connotation with guys, like they're
it's like,
which
well,
is
you're a dude. What are you doing that
Right.
for? I'm like, hey, but the reality, yeah, well,
right, but it's stupid, and then girls get shit for it too. But guys do it
yes.
secretly, so there's a shame. Oh my god, it's manscaping shame, kind of.
Manscame.
Man shaming.
Yeah, scaping.
Man shaming.
You know what it is? Let me just put it this way.
Okay,
if I lived in Indiana still where I grew up and I was working there and I was doing whatever, I wouldn't think about anything. I wouldn't think of getting
if you
a
weren't in
couple
front
of
of the
bumps
camera.
zapped on my forehead.
Right.
I just wouldn't think of it.
Right.
I wouldn't think of,
You
know, I just wouldn't care so much about.
Well, you wouldn't be on camera.
Exactly. A part of our profession is we have to, you know, I wish that somebody would have told me. My friend Chris McDonald, who we love.
I love
not
Chris.
not the white one, not Shooter McGavin.
Right.
Different McDonald, Chris McDonald. He said, Rosenbaum.
That's how he
I made him sound like the blackest guy again, but he doesn't. He does. Now I'm a racist now. No, but he's like Rosenbaum. That's how he talks about Rosenbaum. You moisturize. I'm like, what? Nah. He's like, man, that's where it's at. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, I'm telling you, I've been moisturizing for like 5-10 years now, man. My skin looks radiant.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you should just keep this between us, the dudes. But then I started moisturizing like 10 years ago, and it does help because I never used any products, and now I'm like getting older, and especially if you just take care of yourself.
But you know, that's why the penis of a
Okay,
man
we went
is
there.
always
Is always
so smooth because it's always moisturized. You've been moisturizing that since you were like a kid. Lotion, whatever.
Never
So I'm
jerk
just
off with
saying-
shampoo if you're a guy. I tried it once. My dick became scaly and dry.
Really?
It's not meant to jerk off with.
Why would you even jerk
I
off
was
with
a kid.
shampoo?
I was 14. I jerked off with shampoo, and then I go, what
You were
did
like,
I do
it's
to
slippery.
my penis?
Did it get in your pee hole?
Yeah, it burned.
Yeah, that doesn't
It
sound
burned.
good.
I should have used that. What's the one that
No
doesn't
more
burn?
tears.
Yeah, what's no more
The
tears?
Johnson's Baby
No more
shampoo.
penis tears. No more penis tears. Johnson and Johnson. You could jerk off with that one.
And on that note,
Yes. Sorry.
all right, so I'm the one that brought it up, I guess. But
Maybe.
So we're doing something kind of fun today. We're not doing a book.
Yeah. Are you saying because I don't read?
Yep.
Well, I do
Yep.
read. I read a little bit. The art of not giving a fuck.
Right.
You know, there's
Meh.
books that I do read. I mostly history. That's what I told you. I read
Yeah.
mostly nonfiction.
Right. But I've been trying to get you to do this. I've
Yeah.
been like, I want to do the podcast, and you just kept saying
I
don't read it.
Well,
No,
I mean-
your first thing was I want you to do the podcast. It's really funny. Like we talk about books, and then we talk about how it is in our lives, and you're like, do I have to read it? Do I have to read
You're like,
something?
yeah. I'm
like-
not. This isn't a book club, okay?
Right. But here's the deal. So our friend Carrie O'Donnell,
Carrie O'Donnell, Nurse Carrie,
Nurse Carrie, who's amazing and wonderful,
and accident prone.
is
She gets injured quite often.
which makes it really good that she is a nurse because she can take care of herself
And us.
and us too.
Yeah.
She took care of me.
Mhm.
She took care of me.
She
and-
felt a lump on my head and said, "No, it's probably a cyst. You could get it drained if you want."
yeah, she's good like that.
Mm-hmm.
She sent us this. She sent us this really cool thing to like a group of our friends, which was this really cool little message from Pope Francis.
Yes, and then I emailed back the group and I go, I don't think Pope Francis actually wrote this.
Right.
Some Portuguese poet.
It was a Portuguese poet. So
But it was good. It didn't matter. I don't care who wrote this.
it was
Malcolm
the
in the
content.
Middle wrote it.
It was the content of what it was, but it is funny how all of a sudden it says the message says Pope Francis end of year message, and we're all like, oh, that's really sweet of the Pope, but it wasn't
It wasn't.
at all, and you can check that out. But Michael, would you do the honors of reading this little?
Yeah, I'll read it to you guys. I think it's pretty. Sometimes I hear my dog. You
I
hear
know.
Irv.
I hear Irv.
Oh, he's upset about something. My dog Irv is upstairs.
He's trying to say that he wrote this. Is what he's
Oh
saying.
yeah, it wasn't Pope or the Portuguese
It
poet.
was
It was my
Irv.
dog Irv. It
Yeah.
could have been. All right, so I'll read this. Like, look, a lot of times we get these messages, or somebody goes, "Oh my God, look at this article on happiness," and you read it, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I need to do that." And then what do? We don't do it all.
No, but
I
it's
mean,
nice to read.
It's almost like yes, and like this hit me to a point where I'm like, hey, I put it on my computer.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, these are important things. I think that it doesn't matter where you live, who you are. I thought it was nice.
Well,
and you thought it was nice. It was
I
your
did.
idea to do this.
Right, but I liked it because the reason that I decided to do this is because your response to the group was, I really liked it. I actually got a little teary-eyed, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, we're totally doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll read it. I'll
Okay.
try to be. All right.
Don't fuck up.
I'm trying not to fuck up. You can have flaws, be anxious, and even be angry, but do not forget that your life is the greatest enterprise in the world. Only you can stop it from going bust. Many appreciate you, admire you, and love you. Remember that to be happy is not to have a sky without a storm, a road without accidents, work without fatigue, relationships without disappointments. To be happy is to find strength in forgiveness, hope in battles, security in the stage of fear, love in discord. It is not only to enjoy the smile, but also to reflect on the sadness. It's not only to celebrate the successes, but to learn lessons from the failures. It is not only to feel happy with the applause, but to be happy in anonymity. Being happy is not a fatality of destiny, but an achievement for those who can travel within themselves. To be happy is to stop feeling like a victim and become your destiny's author. It is to cross deserts, yet to be able to find an oasis in the depths of our soul. It is to thank God for every morning, for the miracle of life. Being happy is not being afraid of your own feelings. It's not to be able to talk about you. It's to be able to talk about you. It is to having the courage to
You
hear.
fucked up.
I did. It's all right. It is having the courage to hear and know. It is confidence in the face of criticism, even when unjustified. It is to kiss your children, pamper your parents, to live poetic moments with friends, even when they hurt us. I don't know if I agree completely with that. We could talk about that.
Yeah, I think so.
To be happy is to let live the creature that lives in each of us, free, joyful, and simple. It is to have maturity to be able to say, I made mistakes. It is to have the courage to say, I'm sorry. It is to have the sensitivity to say, I need you. It is to have the ability to say, I love you. May your life become a garden of opportunities for happiness, that in spring may it be a lover of joy, in winter a lover of wisdom, and when you make a mistake, start all over again, for only then will you be in love with life. You will find that to be happy is not to have a perfect life, but use the tears to irrigate tolerance, use your losses to train patience, use your mistakes to sculpture serenity, use pain to plaster pleasure. Use obstacles to open windows of intelligence. Never give up on the people who love you. Never give up on happiness, for life is an incredible show.
Yay!
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Well, I messed up a little, and I could
Yeah.
hear my gardeners here.
Yeah,
So
the gardener's here.
But ultimately, I read this and I was just like, we get these all the time. But there's certain things in here that are important.
They're
that
all
we forget.
important.
Yes.
They're all important. These are all things that, okay, so just like with any of this stuff, right? Like, I try to live my life. I mean, I have gone through therapy.
You've been through hell. Have you told the listeners about your childhood and things?
Nah.
Do you not want to get into that?
I mean, I haven't gone into like great detail, but I have talked about that I've had a really rough childhood. I left home when I was 13.
Yeah, you can listen to my podcast to learn about Krista.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's like a lot of
We
stuff
dug deep.
there.
Sure.
There's like a lot of stuff. And because of that, I've always been searching. These are the things that, it's like that. It's these quotes and these things that you go, oh yeah, that's the way to live. But the trick is to actively live that way, right? Without beating yourself up when you fall off. Because
that's hard.
But it is, but that's kind of the beauty of life too. Like when you are out of alignment with this kind of a thing, one of the coolest things about it is knowing that you're out of alignment and being able to come back. Because when you realize what you don't want in life, like all those don't wants, like all that shit, then you realize what you do want. And it's all there waiting for you. But it's like when you're separated from that stuff, when you're separated from yourself or you're having a really shitty day or something happens or whatever, and you start to get into that negative
And
thinking.
you get caught up in it.
And you get caught up in it. And then you read something like this. And sometimes things like this can either make you feel worse because you know that you're not actively living that, or it can like inspire you to feel better about whatever it is. And I mean, my God, I have a million flaws. I'm constantly anxious. I get angry. All of this stuff. But like even in this thing, it says, don't forget that your life is the greatest enterprise in the world. Of course, all of our lives are.
Although, do you ever think like this? I mean, sometimes I get negative and somebody will say, hey, this is life, man. This is life.
Yeah, what a pessimist.
And what's the alternative? Death.
Yeah.
So which one do you want?
I don't.
There have been moments in my life where I'm like, Well, death, I was like Seinfeld. Death, I wouldn't feel anything.
What's
No
the
pain.
deal?
I'd feel no pain. I'd be gone. I wouldn't have to deal with this shit. But then I'm thinking, but that is what life is about. That if life was so fucking easy all the time, if it just every day you woke up and like, I'm awesome, I'm great, everything I do is perfect, every friend I have is honest, everybody listens to me, and it's just I think we'd go crazy.
Well, not only that, but here's the thing too. Like every time I get out of those places and I do go to those places and I'll get in this negative space. But the coolest part is when you go back into it and you expand, meaning like your heart expands, your brain expands, like whatever it is, and you get to be a bigger person. And I like to look at it like that. When I'm in the darkest places or whatever it could be, but I get out of it, I expand and I am a better person. I'm a better friend. I'm a better lover. I'm a better mother. I'm a better everything. Right. Yeah. But it's not hard to fall out of that stuff. But the people that say that's life, that's just the way it is.
That's life.
That's life.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing. So, but the people that do go into that negative place are people that I try not to surround myself with because it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for those people that believe in Murphy's Law. Well, that's Murphy's Law. Of course that's going to happen. Or life is tough. I have some friends.
I agree with you. I have in my older years, I'm now 45, but it's taken time. But over the course of the last 5 or so years, and I've read so many articles about this, and I've talked to my, psychologist, and it's like there's no reason to keep people who bring you down or people who don't bring something to the table. You have to get rid of them.
Right.
You must get rid of them because there's no room in your life. You have to be. Life's hard enough. Just waking up every day and doing things, and it's not all easy. And you get older and you have aches and pains and people are dying and there's shit going on. And your time is so valuable. So you have to surround yourself with people who just make you happy, want to see you genuinely succeed, and just have your back through fucking whatever.
But this is what I realize about things. When I am in a very negative place, or if I have been in a negative place for a while, what I realize is those negative people come into my life more. But when I'm in a really good place, the people that were those negative people, they weed themselves out. Like, it's not like I have to get rid of them. They just don't show up anymore. But I always know where I am within myself and where I'm operating from, like in a vibrational sense, when shit happens. Today, like I came over here earlier and the SD card wasn't working in my thing.
And I told you, go SD.
Yeah.
Go SD, Krista. What's with your SD card? What does SD stand for?
I don't even know.
Your suck dick card.
My suck dick card wasn't working.
Jeez.
But I had to leave and I went down and I got the thing. Now, if I was in I was like, why did that happen? Like,
you could have freaked out and could have been like, oh my God, I'm so upset. And you didn't. You were very sort of solid about it. You go, you know what? I just came over here. What's your schedule like? I'm going to run to the CVS store and I'm going to go get a SD card and a suck dick card. And where are you? And I said, well, as long as we do it before I leave at 2, we're good. Yeah. And you didn't look panicked. Like,
no.
I think there were times in the past where you might have been like, oh my God, fuck me, fuck.
I probably would have been, and I would have been really freaked
calm.
out.
You seem pretty calm. Because you know what? It's really, if you think about it, who gives
nothing.
a fuck?
Who cares?
If we could take things with a grain of salt, if we could take things more lightly, that's sort of what I'm trying to focus on this year is, dude, stop fucking putting pressure on yourself.
But you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Too much. And you don't have to always be great or good. You don't always have to say the smartest thing. You're a fucking human being. And I think, like, honestly, that's my advice to me and everyone is to just, hey, things are going to happen. And what do? Freak out? No, it doesn't do any good. Okay, what do we do? Or, okay, wow, I fucked up that pitch meeting. I looked like an idiot. Okay, there's another one.
Right.
Get your shit together.
Right. But
you're not going to die.
Right. You're not going to die. But do you have people in your life now, is it like, without naming names or whatever, do you have people in your life that are consistently
negative?
Yeah.
That's a really tough one because there's a different kind of negativity, negativeness.
Is there a different one?
Yes, because there's someone who's like, all right, for instance, there's the guy who's like, I'm like, dude, I just got this audition for this thing. It's like, oh, dude, you're not going to get that role.
No, somebody says that?
No, I'm just saying or somebody will say like, oh, cool, dude, but didn't that last? They're always got a negative turn on everything.
Right.
Like they're not positive in any way.
Right.
Now, I have a friend who is my best friend in the world, Tom.
Right.
Lally.
Right.
Now he is like, I've known him 33 years.
Right.
Maybe, like I'll be by his side no matter what happens to him.
Of course.
If he's sick, I'm there. If he needs me, I'm there.
And
I
vice
love
versa.
him.
Yeah.
Love him. He'll never be in my life. Well, one, because he helped me become successful, I believe, as a friend.
Just supporting you?
Just the support that he gave me early on and made me who I am. And then he became sort of the friend who's like, and now the friend he is more of a, I like somebody who shoots me straight. I like somebody who says, yeah, it's not that funny.
Right.
And that's Tom. Tom's like, yeah, that's not funny.
Right.
But it got to a point where I'm like, dude, in fact, me and my friend Ethan, you know Ethan very well. Ethan and I call him the Dream Crusher. I'm like, dude, Tom. In fact, there was a text yesterday. I was like, something about like there was a gluten-free. I'm trying to go gluten-free here, Hollywood folks. No, but it's like I have something genetic markers that say I shouldn't be eating gluten, and I'm trying to see how I feel without it.
I know.
So there's this something.
I made you gluten-free stuff for
Christmas.
Christmas.
Which was amazing. Your salad, and anyway, you put this piece of gluten or this item, this vegetable, this food in a little thing, and it goes beep 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 beep, and it either says it's gluten-free or it's not.
What?
Yes, but it's really expensive. But anyway. Sorry. Anyway, Ethan sent this to me and he CC'd Tom on it. And he said, hey, Rosenbaum, I thought this is kind of cool. Of course, Dream Crusher probably will have something to say about it. And it was to Tom. So there's a different kind. Like Tom, I get he makes me laugh. Like I'm
hilarious.
Always expecting something negative. Like, dude, wasn't that song great? He's like, it was all right. He's just sort of like nothing is that we joke because nothing is ever really just great. Tom, how is your chicken sandwich? It's good.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was like, everything's just fine.
Right.
That's Tom. He goes through life and he has some smiles and laughs, but he doesn't have. Here's the thing, Krista. Tom. Unlike you and I, Tom, you and I have highs and lows. Some could call it bipolar,
manic.
Some could call it manic depression, and I'm sure there is. I'm sure I
think
come
so
from.
too.
I'm just right. You should see what I was just writing about my mother. A whole thing about her because I'm writing the story and I want to get an accurate feeling of growing up and all this stuff.
You were just doing that?
I mean, literally, I could read you what I wrote and you'd shit your pants. It was just really. I mean, and she wouldn't probably listen to your podcast because she doesn't listen to mine. Which is good
right.
because it's dark. My brother just interviewed me on my podcast and it got kind of fucked up. And it was like, oh my God, I hope my mom doesn't hear this. But what was I saying? You
were talking about the letter that you were writing about your mom?
Yeah. And
just something about going dark. Was it about?
Well, you and I have these, the highs and the lows. And I think most people, like Tom is lucky in a way. Maybe he's not. Think about this. Tom doesn't get really high or really low. He kind of stays in the middle. He's like, yeah, that's good. And not really sad. And he kind of fluctuates in the middle. Right. Call it a homeostasis, if you will.
We'll call
there's
it that.
There's a middle ground.
Right.
And sometimes I envy those people.
Me too.
Sometimes I'm like, I wish I was just more normal.
Right.
Mormal. Mormal.
Mormal, more normal.
Mormal. Can that be a new show?
Hashtag Mormal.
I just wish I was that. And then sometimes I'm like, well, you wouldn't be where you were.
No, you wouldn't.
You were just normal.
No.
Is the title of this episode Mormal?
I think it is.
I think we have to be. This is part of this whole article. Is you have to say this is who I am. Mm-hmm. This is, and also I looked this up. This is true. It's like 50 or 60% of you is genetic. There's no changing it. So 50% of our who we are, our makeup, it's genetic, right? We can't do anything about it.
Like, what do you mean? Thoughts and
if
stuff?
you have some manic depressive issues, and if you have some bipolar issues, or if you have certain things that are genetic, or there's certain things
you can't. I don't believe that.
Listen to me. This is science. Science says there's like 40 or 50%, whatever the number. I can't. It's a lot. It's almost half. You can't correct, but you think that's a big number. But it's like 40 or 50% you can correct.
Right.
So through therapy and through other things. So if someone's completely miserable, they can make some big
Well,
changes.
you have to want to change,
And
which
you
is
have to want to change.
that's the first step in correcting any of that stuff is wanting to change and seeing
also
it.
being accepting like your neuroses and like, okay, I'm this. How do I fix that? I have a little tick. I don't like that because it's out of like all this weirdness. Get rid of that. You can get rid of that. Hey, you can get rid of. Hey, you don't have to react this way to somebody. Or hey, you can let's fix those things,
right?
Because we can. But there's some things we can't fix that are just part of our genetic makeup, who we are, and I believe that's true. So I think that's a positive thing. I think if somebody said, you can only change 5% of who you are. Some people say, when you're 10, that's pretty much who you are. No, I really, the science says that you could change 40 or 50%.
See, okay, so that's science though, but here's the deal. Okay, so totally into science, totally love it. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
However, there's two things here, right? So we are part physical and we're also part non-physical, right? I think we're more non-physical than we are physical, meaning from this source energy. So I'm really into law of attraction and I'm really into the power of thought.
Yeah.
And I just got on this train, by the way, which is why, I've always dabbled in it, but
we should have read the Celestine Prophecy.
I would have totally done it.
Did you read that?
Yeah. Have you read it?
I read it years ago.
See, well,
but
that kind of a thing, right? But here's what I realized because of my past, because of my patterns, I started realizing that all the shit that I was holding on to for so long wasn't my shit. And I couldn't blame anymore. Oh, this is just my mom's like this. So, my mom put her hand on a hot stove. My grandmother put her hand on a hot stove. My great grandmother did. So that just means I'm going to have to put my hand on a hot stove.
Those are things you can change.
Right.
You obviously don't have to do that. Right.
Right. But, or like, hypothetically, right? Whatever that reaction is, that reaction thing. And then I started to think, okay, as I started to get into all of this stuff, I started realizing that thinking better thoughts about it to get myself out of whatever it was. And so if I was feeling, so my mom, super reactive, really very, very
Mine
narcissistic.
Too. Very narcissistic. Mine too.
And also just the guilt and the, oh my God, like just, I'm always wrong.
Is your mother my mother? No.
A lot of our mom, but
Yeah.
we learn all this stuff and it sucks because it's what we think life is.
Yeah.
Look at anybody's family and they are very much conditioned to like the way that their family was. And when I started to look at it, I was like, I don't have to do this. And do you know why it feels shitty? The reason it feels shitty when I'm acting in certain ways that I know don't work, it's because I'm so not in alignment with like that, with like the awesome, perfect being that I am in that non-physical place. It doesn't work.
How about that? Like riding a bike or like learning to whatever it is,
right?
It takes time and programming. So sometimes we're not robots. You're not going to just be perfect Crystal all the time. So let's say you're aligned with whatever you're talking about, like this whole spiritual thing or whatever, or the universe, and that's all fine. But the reality is this. The reality is every day I could say, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to say, thank you for my life. And I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to make a breakfast and feed my dog and kiss him on the lips and say, I fucking love you. I love life. This is great. And I could say, I'm doing this forever.
Right.
And then one day you just don't do it. One day you just wake up and go, fuck this, man. Fuck you. You're not appreciative. Fuck everything. Fuck, and you're like, whoa, what happened? That's just life.
Right.
And that's going to always happen. You can't condition yourself to always be happy unless you're a fucking monk.
No, but here's the thing. Right, exactly. But this is the trick. Yeah. What they say within all this stuff is you can't. Of course you can't. If you're in a shitty mood, if you wake up, if you're going through something, if you don't get a job or you get in a wreck or somebody breaks up with you, you're not going to be able to go from I feel really shitty to life is great.
Right.
Because it doesn't work. It doesn't feel right. And that's why people can't do that, which is what makes, like when people do that, it's fake and it doesn't feel right. So you just think a little bit of a better thought.
Yeah, that's true.
And you keep going up.
That's programming. That's
which is kind of what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
You cannot go from I feel really shitty to I'm great and actually believe it. So you have to get yourself to the place where you're like, all it's about is feeling good. And as
Yeah.
you feel better, no matter what it is, as you feel better about it, you start to lift your vibration up, and then better shit starts to happen. And then you start to raise up and you can get to that place.
But you know where it stems from?
What?
You just made me think.
What?
It really stems from, because you could do all these things and you can go to, I think what it comes down to, I was just talking to Zach Levi about this. You know, Zach, he's a wonderful human being.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I had him on the show. We both cried. I've never cried.
Wow.
You couldn't really, I mean, we really teared up. I saw him welling up and he saw me. And we were just talking about our family and life. And I just think that it's hard to make changes. It's hard to do all, but I think the number one thing is, before anything, the number one thing you have to do, and I'm working on this. I'm truly working on this. And it might sound really funny to people, and it's really sad to people, but it's honest. So A, you got to be really honest.
Yeah.
Completely honest with yourself. And B, and there's no real A and B, they could either be
Either one.
No, either one.
Interchangeable.
I know you've heard this a million times. You have to learn to love and like yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I'm really working on. I don't think, I mean, some people just love
All of us
themselves and
are.
they just love everything.
Not a lot of people do.
It's really hard, because it's like I never think about that, and it's just like saying, well, how could you love someone? You can't love someone until you love yourself. Now, I'm not saying I don't. I love some things about myself.
Right.
I fucking love some things about myself.
Right.
There's some things about me that I'm like, you're fucking awesome.
Right.
You're a fucking giving person. You love, you're good to your friends, or there's your family. And then there are things that I go, you're a cunt.
Yeah.
You're
me
just,
too.
You're just not. It's not that I'm a terrible person with other things. It's just that for some reason, there's some things, my actions, the way I don't want to say the way I handle things, but the way I feel about certain things.
Like what though? Like what? Like, cause I have my own shit too, but like,
Well, if we're going to get real, are we keeping it real?
let's keep it real.
Well, I think it's like, there's certain things about myself that I just go, I'm really, really hard on myself. I'm incredibly hard on myself. And then it gets to a point where I'm so hard on myself that I go, you're not, do you ever get, you're not, I'm going to finish that sentence. Like, you're not good enough. Or good people or talented people don't have these feelings. They just do them. You shouldn't be scared.
Where did you learn
shouldn't
that
be
from?
nervous. You shouldn't be this. And what's really weird is, for a long time, I don't think I was. And I've sort of developed, and this is intermittently developed, where all of a sudden I'll go, oh my God, why am I nervous to do this? And my therapist will say, that's because you're excited, Michael. This is good. It drives you. I go, no. This kind of nerve is not good.
Right.
I don't want to be nervous right now. I shouldn't be nervous. I've done this 100 times. I'm fucking good. I'm talented. Why am I feeling this? And it has to do with anxiety, or it has to do with some kind of, psychological. It has something to do with childhood, not being good enough.
Of course
being
it
the
is.
dumb kid, being the shortest kid, being not worthy, not loved. All that shit somehow still creeps back into my life sometimes. And what happens is, instead of embracing it and going, and look, I do acknowledge it, I go, that's that.
Yeah.
And you think that it's so easy that all that should happen is my brain recognizes that, and that's from childhood, shut it off, move on. But for some reason, sometimes I can't.
Because it's a belief that somewhere, this is the thing. I totally get it. Me too. My whole life, my entire life has been about not being enough or being too much. There's no happy medium. I'm either not enough or I'm too much. And when I go back and I'm like, oh, of course it's because of childhood, a massive abandonment issues from mom, dad, everything. So those are subconscious. Why are they subconscious? Because they're belief systems that we don't even know exist, right? They're just there. It's like what I was saying earlier, like it's learned belief systems that weren't even ours to begin with. Whatever it is, maybe we just witnessed something. Maybe maybe it's just something we heard. Say for instance, people that like have like massive financial block in their life, right? Like they just literally cannot get ahead to save their life. Money is always an issue. Guaranteed somewhere in that past, there was either a mom or a dad or constant things that they would hear. Money doesn't grow on trees, whatever it is. And you start to hear, it might not have even been a direct statement to that person, to that kid or whatever, but it's stuff that you hear. And then that belief system, you become conditioned. Well, money doesn't grow on trees. Life is hard. Nothing's fair in life. And we start to believe this stuff because we're so, as kids, that's all we know. And then we go off to be adults. And now we're on our own, but we still have all this bullshit that wasn't ours to begin with. And that's the reconditioning part. So all of the stuff that you're talking about makes sense. I do it all the time.
My friend went to I won't say his name. I can't remember if I can. It doesn't matter. He went to a retreat. He was really hanging on, barely hanging on. And he had to go to some behavioral therapy.
Right.
And he just said he had just so many problems with his family and so much childhood trauma, and he just didn't know how to deal with the lows. Where normal people, like I said, my friend Tom, he doesn't get that low.
Right.
He doesn't allow himself, just genetically and psychologically, he just doesn't get lower than low. He handles death. He handles, if you see a tear from him, that's a rarity.
Right.
He's not too emotional. He's not all over the place where I think we can be.
All over the place.
The proverbial way. Maybe it's all of us out there.
Yeah.
But he went to this retreat and he said, "You know what it is, Rosie?" And I go, "What?" He goes, You're sort of with all these, like there's behavioral therapists and there's psychiatrists and there's group meetings and there's coaching and there's yoga and there's all these things for like this 2-week intense program, which I'm considering just to fucking see what it's like.
Right.
And he says, "You know what it is? It comes down to these people become your parents for those 2 weeks that you didn't have. It's all those problems you had as a kid, all those things that never were sort of talked about or communicated, or the love or it kind of brings tears to my eyes now thinking about, because I could see what it does without even being there, because it's more of you're bringing up all this stuff from the past, and then you're having a support system there that are there telling you that, you know what, you're not a dumbass,
Right.
you're not a little. They were fucked up and they didn't know how to do parent,
Right.
and they didn't know how to do this, and you've got to let this go because it's just not a reality.
Right.
You're not. Look where you are. Look, because there's some things that I mean, people, it's hard for people to look at anyone in the industry and say, what, they're sad, or, oh, fuck them, they got a Hollywood career. I die to have their life. I die to have, be on a hit show, or die to whatever. And I get it. I understand. I'd be thinking that too. Sometimes I look at it like, Brad Pitt, how is he not happy? It's a human trait that we all share. We're all the same.
Right.
We're all the same, whether we're really successful at one thing or whatever. There's everybody right now across this globe. There's feelings of like not feeling like you're good enough, not feeling like you're wanted. You having certain issues that stem from childhood, and so you got to work on those. You got to address those issues. And ultimately, I know that, look, I could be tremendously confident and no one would ever know shit that I go through, because
Right.
I don't want to tell people, unless like we're on this podcast and
Right.
we're talking about it. But mostly, if you go through life, you meet me, I'm the most confident guy in the
Yeah,
world.
absolutely.
I'm lovable and giving and friendly and always there to talk to people and blah, blah. And my friend Jane, who calls it like, you're the clown. You're the clown,
Right.
the sad clown that goes home. You got the smile painted on your face.
That's a terrible thing. You're the salad.
And I said,
sad
well, "What are
pen
you
that
talking
goes
about?"
home.
She goes, "Well, I don't mean that you're always unhappy. Like, because I am. Genuinely, I'm happy. I am.
Of course.
But I'm just saying
Well,
that with
yeah.
me and you, and probably with 90% of the world, there are just things we can do to make our lives better.
Right.
And we could do things to love ourselves more,
Right.
and to be better to other people, and just in general to be a better human being, because that is what it is about for me. When I'm
Right.
80 years old, I don't want to say, "Oh, I did this because for them," or "I did so." I want to do things for me, not just fucking everyone else.
Absolutely. Well, and what you were saying, it's like the company that you keep in the empty moments are the most that's the most important company that you should keep, right? Because when you put your head down at night, that's always a very clear sign of where you are. And I mean, so when you're talking about, and I've gone through years and years of therapy, and with what I've also found is this: the more that I talk about the problems that are going on in my life, let's say I'm having a relationship problem, or I'm upset with my manager, or something's going on, or somebody did something that's really upsetting me, or a friend, and I consistently talk about that person and what they did and how it upsets me and what's going on, I continue to get more of it. But when I start to see that person as there's greatness in I don't think anybody is intentionally just a dick. I think sometimes I think
things happen sometimes because of other things that are going on inside, and the wrong thing comes out, and they say things, and it's bad. And
it's their own
remind
thing.
me to talk about that, because that's
huge. But yes, I won't forget. But what I'm saying is, like with therapy, when you beat the drum of the same story over and over, and it's like, and you're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't help but go off into the world. I've noticed my own relationship in relationships with people, as I stopped complaining, which is something that we as humans do all the time. Like, God damn it. I mean, seriously, whether it's about traffic or relationships, I promise what I found is once I start to see a better story and make myself feel better about it, or see the good and focus on the good in that person, as opposed to the shit that I want to complain about that's not working for me because I want them to be something different, or I want a different situation. The more that I focus on the good, the more good comes out, and it is a law.
I could see that.
It is a full-on law for me. I've noticed it so much.
By the way, can I say something?
Yeah.
I don't know why you made me think of this. I just want to tell you this, especially if you live in LA, okay, or wherever you fucking live. There's no excuse for being late because of traffic. If you live in LA and I tell you to be at my house at 8, and you're come at 9 and go, oh, there was traffic. Fuck you.
I totally agree with that.
Saying there's traffic in Los Angeles is like saying, oh my God, the lines on Space Mountain at Disney World were long.
Right.
Yeah, fuck you.
I totally
Wake
get
up.
it.
They've been long for 50 years.
I totally get it.
Okay, I just want to say that.
Yeah, I totally
All
get
right?
that.
It's just unacceptable. You might as well just say, hey, I'm an asshole. I'm late.
Yep,
That's
I'm late.
it.
Totally spaced out.
Yep, just fucking, I just
totally,
can't.
Yep.
But somewhere
what
on
were
this,
you going to say a minute ago? Because you're
yes, on Pope Francis's lie. No, and this is a message not from Pope Francis. There's something here that it says, we read, it says, it is to kiss your children, pamper your parents. Fuck that. I do that enough. I don't have children, but I kiss her or my dog. To live poetic moments with friends, even when they hurt us. That's the one thing I just can't understand.
Well, think about the poetic part, right?
Even when your friends hurt us.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so if you're looking at it in a very healthy
I know
manner,
this is an issue of mine. I know this is a fucking issue of mine.
Too.
And I this is the hardest issue to overcome. Just before I forget, I want to say that my parents, I love them. Because they're my parents. You're supposed to.
Right.
So it's that weird, guilty fucking, I'm somewhere in the middle where I'm like, yeah, I didn't like you most of my life. And I don't really like a lot of you now.
You're the source of a lot of my
my
pain.
dad's
Yeah.
trying. I think there's certain things. I'm forgiveful.
Forgetful? Forgiveful?
I'm forgiving. I can't even speak. I'm forgiving. I was trying to say 2 words. I'm forgiving. But the hurt, look, my parents were always, I have to just say it, they just lied to me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like my mom was always lying to me.
Yeah.
My dad was always, even the stories, I just didn't believe their stories. And I was just like, I just don't buy it. It was just a weird thing. And I think I believed them to a certain point where I was like, oh my God, my dad, my mom, they're the best, they're the smartest, they're the greatest. And then I realized, you sit on a throne of lies.
Yeah, and it all
You guys are
comes
fucking
crumbling
liars.
down.
You're talking about all these other families that suck. You suck. This
Yeah.
family sucks. Your dysfunction sucks.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing for me, okay, this is because I know this stems from, I could tell you why. It's from being a kid. It's when someone lies to me.
I hear you.
When someone lies to me or they deceive me, it is to me the most, like, to me, I will give everything. I will give come to my dinners, come to my parties, come to watch movies. Hey, I'm going to treat you to dinner. I never ask for a fucking thing back from anybody. Anybody who knows me, I don't say, hey, you owe me for this. Hey, you're paying for this. I just do things and I don't think anything of it. Okay? I don't bring it up. I don't say, hey, all these things I did, blah. I don't do that. All I ask for is the unspoken, hey, you'll be honest with me and
it's all about
and you won't talk
loyalty.
shit about me.
Yeah.
Right?
Oof.
Very simple, right? Because if you love somebody, you don't talk shit about them. You got their back.
Right.
I have my friends' backs. Hold on. Oh shit! You guys had to see that. The plug. Her cord just choked me. Fuck off, toll free. Fuck off. Don't call back.
Wow.
Okay, I had to. See, that was mean. I should have channeled it into something positive.
No, it was
But I'm
good.
tired of the same number calling every day 10 times.
So if you keep talking about it, it's going to keep calling.
I just say fuck off. I know that's not nice, but especially what we're talking about today. But to me, I don't ask for anything. So when somebody says something or somebody lies, to me, it's devastating. To me, it's almost like
It's soul crushing. I get
to me,
it.
where a lot of people keep these girls do it more than this is. I don't understand. I don't understand women.
Okay, why?
For this thing,
Tell me.
guys don't talk shit about other guys. Guys are fun. Guys, real men. Like, I know. Unless you have a girlfriend, and look, all I'm saying is this: it's different. Guys don't get caught up in a lot of stupid shit.
I don't know.
Most men, like the real friends that I know, like, the ones that I'm close to, I don't think that they get carried. Okay, maybe maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about the woman-men thing, but I just feel like.
But it's okay if that's what you think. But if that's what you think, that is what I swear, you have a thing with your mom, right? Like, of course, I do too.
Sure.
I have a thing with my dad.
Yep.
So I have both. But those belief systems, that is why I get the people in my life that I do. I trust with all of my heart and soul.
But I do that too. So maybe it's not a female male thing. But what I've noticed is, like, I never have issues with the guys for the most part. 90% of my life, 95% of my life is when it's like, I don't know if it's bro code or whatever it is, but maybe women are sensitive at certain times, or women have a propensity for talking about each other more. Don't you think they're more catty? They're more like, please, you don't think?
Definitely.
At auditions,
I just don't have those people in my life anymore.
That's true.
But yes,
but I go to auditions.
Agree.
Okay, this is an example. I go to auditions. When you walk into an audition as a guy, you're like, "Hey, John, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? What's going on? Blah blah blah. Great, blah blah blah. Cool. Everything's cool. There's nothing. I'm telling you, I've heard it from so many women. When you walk in there, you can sense it. You could feel it. I know that actress. She got the last part I did, or I know there's a certain feeling that it's not as nurturing as, it's more like there's a competition. As it's not. Does it make sense? Does that make sense?
I mean, I guess it could.
That's how
I am
my
the person
perception
that
is.
goes into the audition room and I will literally talk to every
But do
single
you think
person.
every woman's like that? I feel like they're all
But sometimes-
real competitive. It's weird.
I don't know if it's a woman thing and a man thing or if it's just a human thing. I do think women can absolutely look, women against each other. It's like the worst thing in the world. Like, I hate that women don't support each other.
That's what I'm thinking.
But also, you also have the guys that literally like, oh yeah, he's, that girl just wants to fuck him because he's this, or this was, whatever. Like, guys will say this and think things, or, oh, he got that part because of so-and-so, or like everybody has it because people like to compare, right? Maybe
I
that's
just sense
the thing.
that at least in this industry that females are always, just from the girlfriends that I have, they're a little bit
More catty.
towards other women, especially if they don't know them, or if they're not in the group, or if they're like, who's this girl? Who's this? Whereas guys are like, dude, what's up, man? I feel like that's always been the case. That's my gut.
Look, I definitely vibe people out really hard at the beginning, and I know when I feel something from the beginning from somebody. I'm pretty
Okay.
good at that.
So you do have that kind of feeling in the beginning until you know them, and that's a good thing.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on the person. It really does. If somebody's coming at me with a really fake energy off the bat,
Yeah, you don't like that.
I'm kind of like, so I have a beagle, Jack, who you know very well. If a puppy comes up to Jack, or not, I shouldn't say a puppy because puppies are cute.
Or another dog.
If another dog comes up and is like in his face, just like, hey, what's going on? What's going on?
You're like, whoa.
Jack is like, get away. And I kind of feel the same way with that kind of manic energy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there are people
yeah.
that there are people that have come into my life that have been
And there
like
are guys
that.
that actually, now that I think of it, there are guys. There's some guys that are like, dude,
What's going
hey,
on?
man, come on. I'm like, you're too much, man.
And it's
I
a
don't know
lot.
you. It seems weird. It doesn't seem. You know what? I'm going to take back most of what I said. I'm going to say that you're right. It is it's
an
male,
energy,
female. It's an
right?
energy that both. Yes.
It can definitely be an energy, but it's also, I can get very judgmental on that. And I'm also fiercely protective of friends,
Yeah.
which isn't my freaking business. And I do get into my head. I get into other people's business very quickly because I'm protective.
Right.
Is that my business? No.
No,
That's
but-
something I have to work on because I can easily shut down out of distrust because I have such loyalty issues. And I
Yeah.
see, and for who am I to judge somebody when I don't know them? But there's an energy sometimes that I automatically, instead of just letting it go, there's one specific person that proved right for
Yes,
me.
yes,
right?
yes.
There's somebody else that proved wrong. There's two people that I can
Yes.
think of right now, and
Maybe
I was
I'm
like,
just maybe I'm just like, I'm very giving. I don't invite everybody into the group, into my group, our group, whatever. I don't think you do either, and I think that we're very it's a safety thing, and you're just like, hey, who's this person? Who's this? I'm a little
Right.
more cautious, but my problem is like I can't get into that. We can't get into that, can
No.
we? We can't get into that.
I mean,
I'm just gonna say that if you know me, I think it's obvious that I'm pretty straight fucking forward for the most part.
Right.
I don't hold anything back. And sometimes if it doesn't work out with a girl or a relationship, it doesn't mean they're not a good person or that they can't hang out or whatever. We can't be friends. But I feel like with guys too, I'm sure.
right.
If a girl's not interested in a guy and the guy is like still cool and he wants to, the guy still wants to date the girl.
Right.
And the girl, I think that's a both male, female thing. So you have to be careful. I just think that I'm so. We're getting off on a tangent. but
I know.
Look, it gets back to trust things. I
It
think
is
I
trust.
just get hurt. I'm devastated when someone I love or I've just treated so well. If I hear something like, "Oh,
my
yeah, they
God.
said, something about me," I immediately confront them,
You don't even
and
understand.
I'll say, "If you did this, then you're not my friend."
Well, exactly. But it
That
also
stems from childhood.
but-
I'm not forgiving. Back to that Pope Francis lie.
Right. But the Pope Francis lie, who's actually a Portuguese poet.
Yes.
But that's the thing. I think that because, okay, so there was somebody very special in my life that was talking terrible shit about me for a long time. I found out a lot of things about it, and I was fucking devastated.
Sure.
Like crushed.
What do you do?
I was crushed. I talked to this person about it, and it was denied completely. There wasn't a fuck.
There's three sides to every
There-
story,
right.
and you got to sometimes be careful of the source.
Right. And then there's
You got to be careful of the source.
there's three sides to every story, and then there's a screenshot. So, there's like, but I'm just saying, sometimes when it's a proof, when there's something that's there
and they lied.
and there's a lie, there's a trust that's so broken.
Yeah.
However,
Can't come back.
Can't
come back.
But
to that.
here's the thing. It goes hand in hand with my belief system, just like your belief system, which is you in your past, in my past, we have had massive loyalty issues. I've had abandonment issues. Those things that I carry continue to show up in my life by the people that I surround myself with that I love, right? Very, very close relationships, with people I date or very close friends. And I'll find disloyalty all the time, not because I'm looking for it, but because I believe somewhere in there's a running story. So I can think that I want this other part of my life, but if I'm still operating from this other side, I have two engines on either side of one train. Like it can't go anywhere. I can't just continue to go down and go, everything is going to be fine because something's holding me back. And what holds me back are those thoughts. So say if I meet somebody and I automatically have this feeling of I don't trust this person, and those are the first thoughts that come in, you can pretty much guarantee
Is your
that that's
gut
what's
usually
going to
your
happen.
gut's usually right? Well, my gut's usually right too, but I have been fucking, like, I'm telling you, there's been 2 or 3 times in the last 15 years, 2 or 3 maybe, that's it, that I was absolutely fooled. And I felt like an idiot. I felt betrayed.
Right.
I felt, and you got to give yourself credit. Like if you're going up to a plate and, out of 100 at bats, you're hitting, 750 or 800 and you're doing, you're going to strike out. You're going to all of a sudden hit a curve or, a foul ball, or you're going to strike out, whatever. And I think that you have to give yourself like more credit. Like I'm down on myself when something happens where I'm like, wow, somebody screwed me over. They weren't the friend I thought they were. Well, I don't have an oracle. I don't know what the future holds. All I know is I'm a good judge of character.
Right.
I give people, I'm honest. I'm good with them. If they're not a good friend to me, wow, and I was wrong, I have to just fucking take the hit and just let it go.
Right. But isn't that all still also a part of what you're talking about? Like it's so important, like to love yourself and to think better thoughts. And I know it sounds so trivial and stupid, but there is that part where it's like, I don't know, with everything that we're talking about with loyalty and all that stuff, I notice that it only comes in the more that I think about it. And the more that I don't talk about it, and the more that I talk about the good shit, the better my life becomes. And that stuff doesn't come into my life. It's like a blip on a screen. But when I'm stuck in that place and I'm holding on to it and I tell the story over and over and over, more shit happens.
And you're
like
wasting
that.
valuable time.
It's ridiculous.
I think that's the most thing is how much time do we all waste? How much time do we waste
That's a really good
worrying
point.
about what someone thinks, worrying about this? I know it. I say, what am I doing? Stop it. The second you can just go, done. That's done. That's done. Throw that away. I just threw a bottle cap by accident. It was just Tourette's. The second you can just say, I'm done. It's gone. Let's let that go. That's gone. Let it go. That's a healthy way of looking at it, if you can do that.
If you can do it, or just seeing the lesson in it and going, oh my God, shit. You know what? I can totally see where my thoughts were because this is what just happened. So where am I running in this right now? I must be in a place where I'm beating the shit out of myself a little bit. And I kind of see how I brought that into my life. What a great lesson. Thanks. Now tell a better story.
Yeah.
If we could do that, I know, but that's not scientific at all. And that's not like going back into like the way that is, but it is a reconditioning, but it's coming from a different place of not just being aware. There's 2 things. Being aware of this shit is awesome. And it's great to read this stuff and go, this is awesome. This is how everyone
But
should
you
live.
have to believe it.
Not only do you have to believe it, but you have to act on it.
Act on it.
And that's the thing. Like you could be aware. People can be aware of shit, but acting on that awareness is like the step that changes the game. It's like a game
You know
changer.
what my therapist said?
What?
He said one time, it's none of your business what other people think about you.
Right.
It's none of your fucking business.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It's none of your business what they say about you or what they think about you. It's none of their business.
Well, and I'll add to that because
It's none of your business.
because the reason that certain things affect us, the only time that we get really affected by something somebody says is when there's a part of us that believes it and thinks it's true.
Yes. No. Yes.
Do you know?
Well, so I mean,
But
yes.
so if I came up to you and I said, Michael, you're a penguin, you'd be like, fucking, I'm not a penguin. You wouldn't even care.
I wouldn't even think about it.
Because you're not a penguin. But because you know what I mean? But if I said, Michael,
you have sleep problems. I'd walk away going, yeah, I kind of do.
yeah, if I said, Michael, you're a shit show.
Yeah. I might agree if it was from, coming out of a place of like,
No,
out of love.
but you know what I'm saying. But even if it wasn't, if there was even remotely a place inside of you that, because it's hurtful, it's not true.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like, does somebody really think that?
Well,
But if somebody
depends
said,
who.
right.
Depends who says it. If a random person says it, who gives a fuck?
Well, but still, even if a random person came up to me and said something to me like, Krista, you're a shit show, I think I'd still be upset.
People would write them. I'm sure if you look online, it's like, oh, this sucks, or you sucked in this, or you did this. I don't give a fuck.
You don't see? I
never.
still
I never
"Aw."
care. I never care. I mean, look, I love to say, read things, because I do my podcast Inside
Right.
of You with Michael Rosenbaum. But I look at the comments and I reply to comments, and
Yeah.
most of them are really positive and great because I really feel like I could give good interviews and
Right.
and they're fun. But if someone says something negative, I always think, look, if they're all negative, then you're like, maybe you should reevaluate this.
Right.
But if 95% of your shit are good comments and people are enjoying it, don't worry about the bad
and
ones.
I totally agree with that. It's just those little things, right? It's just all of those little. It's just all of that shit, right?
Yeah.
It's just like bringing ourselves to a different place of. So this whole thing, this entire, we did pretty good. We've
Yeah.
already been doing this an hour.
Yeah, it sounds like it's long.
I know. I know. It's.
Oh no. Here's the thing. I think if people have relationships or people are, it's just it's good to talk about this stuff. I think it's
is.
interesting. I think it's in the beginning I'm like, I have nothing to offer, and then I realized if you're just honest and you talk about your own issues and the issues that are sort of relatable, then it's good.
Do you know what I love is that like anybody that would look at your life would never think, like you said, people immediately see you and you're charming and charismatic and adorable and handsome and all of these wonderful things, and you're successful.
And why am I single? Is that what you're gonna say?
And why are you single?
Is that what you're gonna say?
No.
What were you
I
gonna
was
say?
gonna say nobody would think that there would ever be a time in your life that you may have these, that you would even remotely be insecure about things in your life or have these thoughts.
Yeah.
Because people look at you and go, he has it all.
Yeah,
and
of
that's
course.
what's so cool about this kind of thing. Like even just talking about it, where people out there that are listening that have the exact same feelings that we do, and they're still just trying to be a better them every day. And the people that listen to my podcast, every single one of them, I get so many emails about people going, holy shit, like I don't feel alone. Like this is amazing.
That's
like
good.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
You know Ja Rule?
Yeah.
Ja Rule had a song a long time ago in the 90s that went, I want to be loved, not for who you think I am or who you want me to be. Will you love me for me? Real love with no strings attached. I want to give you my heart. I don't want to take it back. But I remember that song and I was like, gosh, he's so right. That's what I want.
Yeah, but you know what? You sing that song to yourself in the mirror every single day.
Is that what I
then.
should do?
Yeah, every day. Sing that, because we always look outside ourselves. That's what I've done my whole life, which we're going to wrap this up, but I've always done my whole life. I've always looked outside of myself to find somebody to save me, to make me feel whole again. Yeah. And I
well, you know me.
fail
I want somebody.
constantly.
Yeah, well, you know what? You fail until you succeed.
I fail until I love myself more than I love the need of someone else doing it for me.
That's the thing. Also,
right?
I'll leave you with this: is that I am a very incredibly independent person.
Yeah.
I've lived on my own a long time. I love, I do love a lot about my life and my house and my dog and my friends and my, my career. And all, there's things I don't. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I know what I'm needing. For a while I've wanted someone, you know, because I spent my 20s and 30s and I was out clubs and partying and getting laid and doing all that stuff, and I've been done with it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, I want to find somebody I could just be loved.
Yes, I know.
You do. We all want that.
Man.
So it's like, it sounds funny to say, but I'm like 45. It's like, I don't think it's funny anymore. I don't want to be with somebody just to be with somebody. I want to be with somebody who goes, I like you for the idiot you fucking are.
You want to grow old and disgusting
That's
with
it.
someone. You want to have a partner.
I don't
Me
want,
too.
not necessarily disgusting, but
No,
yeah.
But we all get disgusting.
Yeah, that's fine. Just dim the lights.
Just dim the lights.
Yeah.
So, all you ladies out there, Michael Rosenbaum is single.
Yeah, you have a friend. Don't tell her name.
Yeah, I won't. I have a friend.
You're going to maybe talk to her.
Yep, we are. We're going to go out on Friday.
Yeah, it's a threesome.
All of us.
I mean, three of us are going to have a drink.
It's going to be great.
She doesn't. Yeah.
She's not drinking this month though.
Yeah, I don't drink much either. You could drink.
Yeah, I'm going to get drunk for all three of us.
You don't really get drunk that much.
Nah. No, yeah, no. I just said no and then shook my head yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I can definitely put him down.
Keep the good friends, folks. Keep the good ones.
Yeah.
The bad ones, get rid of. You don't need them.
Okay, I hope this was helpful for everyone. I think it was. I think we just cured. Nobody has to go to therapy this week. So.
I really enjoyed this.
I did too.
Thanks for having me on your show. I'll come back anytime, or you'll come over. You're at my house right now.
Yeah.
This has been a real treat. It's therapy. It really is therapy.
It is therapy.
Yeah.
Do you feel better? Do you feel like you learned something?
I do. I really do.
Okay, good. Me too.
Hey, and listen to my podcast if you want.
Oh yeah,
guys.
you guys. Okay, so where can people find you on social media?
Oh
really quick?
yeah. It's my Twitter's the Michael Rosenbaum.
Is it?
BUM because Baum was too long.
Oh my god.
So it's Michael Rosenbaum, and Instagram's the Michael Rosenbaum, and then my my website's themichaelrosenbaum.com, and you can listen to all my podcasts.
Yeah,
on
he
iTunes.
has a great website.
It's free. Inside
Check
of
it
Michael
out.
Rosenbaum. Yeah, check it out.
And check out his podcast.
Yeah.
And all right, thank you.
Thanks,
Love you.
Krista.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
She's fine. She's fine.
It's Dragon Wagon.